Okay, so welcome to a new series. It's called Conversations with Cyclists in Coffee Shops. But we're not in a coffee shop because Gaurav doesn't have coffee. So today I have Gaurav with me, and give you a little idea. Gaurav has basically had the opportunity because he's bought so many bikes to ride a lot of bikes. So I'm going to hand over the mic to him and let him introduce himself to you, and then we'll take it from there.
Thanks, Dalton. So, my name is Gaurav. I'm a photographer from Bombay. I have been cycling since 2019. So, Dalton and a couple of other friends got me into cycling, and one of the first few rides I ever did was with Dalton. So, around Bombay, there's not too many routes that you can do. So, the first long ride we decided to do was to ride from Andheri, where I stay, to Marine Drive, and that's when things changed for me because till then I was kind of like riding leisurely and riding more relaxed, and that's when I realized how unfit I was and how addictive it is to just get fitter and faster while cycling. So yeah, that's my journey. It's been about 3 years now, and been through many bikes. So I think that's what's inspired Dalton to kind of come with his journey. I have counted. I think I have owned and sold approximately 10 or 11 bikes in the last 3 years. And currently, I have two bikes, which we'll talk about. These are pretty recent, these are in the last few months. But yeah, I've had a mix of like mountain bikes, steel, touring bikes, gravel bikes, road bikes. I've had it all. Fixies, yeah.
So, what are the two bikes you have right now? When we talk about them?
So I have the Trek Emonda, which is about 5 or 6 months old, and then I have a Scott Speedster Gravel, which is an aluminum bike, which is it's a gravel bike, and that's about a couple of weeks old, maybe a week old. The reason I have this setup right now is just because I the roads in Bombay aren't that great, and I like kind of sometimes I want to be comfortable, sometimes I want speed, and I'm trying to look for that perfect balance between both. And unfortunately, I haven't found that yet. So for now, I have these two.
Okay. What are the prices of these bikes?
The Trek Emonda by default, I think. So this is the SL6 Pro, which comes with different carbon wheels, and it comes with an alloy handlebar and stem that costs around 3.3 lakhs. I have some upgrades on them, and we'll probably go through them at a later stage. But yeah, 3.3 lakhs for this, and that's approximately a 1.6 lakhs, 1.7 lakhs for the gravel bike.
Okay. So now the question arises: which one of these two do you like better?
So now, since Delton's wearing the Trek T-shirt, I have to say Trek. I mean, I don't want to. No, but jokes aside, the Trek. So the different bikes, you can't compare them. I wish, I was hoping that I could kind of like mix both and kind of swap wheels and use only the gravel bike. But just in the recent testing, you can't compare them. This is great for broken roads. The kind of speeds that you can maintain and the kind of confidence that you have on broken roads is amazing on the gravel bike. If you have good, clean, like relatively clean roads, this is the bike. This is an all-rounder, so it can climb. It's semi-aero, good for flats, etc. But if I had to keep one, I would probably keep this just because I know that eventually I do love speed, and I think most cyclists do love just going fast. So this is like a cheat code.
So, would you consider yourself to be like a sprinter, an endurance cyclist, or just a casual rider?
I think I started off being a casual rider and definitely immediately went into sprinting just because I used to run when I was a kid, take part in sports in school and stuff. And that was my forte even when I was a kid. And I think that's kind of what I'm good at even now. I'm not that great at endurance just because I'm just not built for it, but I do like building on stuff that I'm not good at. So I've never been a good climber. I remember when we first started cycling and we traveled to Bhutan on a bike packing trip, I used to hate climbs. I used to hate it. And now just because I've, kind of worked on it, it's kind of becoming really addictive, and just climbs around Bombay, and it's addictive. So I'm not the best at climbs, but I do love, it's fun.
So, what is your training regimen? I've seen you progress from a casual rider to recently. Gaurav just won the amateur Maharashtra. Uh,
It was the individual time trial.
I'll let him talk about that. So the question once he talks about that, the question that I want to ask you is that how did you train yourself to get to a level where you can do feats like that?
So I think back for the last couple of years, like 19 and 2020, the my cycling was more about just meeting friends, waking up in the morning, going on empty roads, and just I was and I'm still addicted to chasing comms, but I feel like what's really helped me is getting a trainer. I have a Wahoo Kicker Co, which basically rigs up to the back wheel of the back axle of the bike, and it allows you to do resistance training on indoor while you're at home. And what's really changed for me is that just the different plans that it offers, Wahoo system, the different plans that it offers, and what the kind of variations and the kind of controlled environment that you can cycle in. I think that's incomparable to riding outdoor. Riding outdoor is very necessary, and your bike handling skills, your traffic maneuvering skills, your pacing, etc., is amazing, and you definitely need to ride outdoor. But just having the option to kind of not miss a single day, even if you wake up late or you have a late night at work or socializing, you at least have the trainer and you can train with it throughout the day. And just I think the transition happened sometime earlier this year when I got the trainer, and I think it's been 6 months now, for 5 or 6 months, and I have seen a considerable difference. I wouldn't say I'm much stronger, but I know how to pace myself a lot more, and I know how to kind of work on different techniques like cadence and just overall posture. Just because of the trainer, you're able to fine tune these small things which you can't otherwise on the road. In terms of the race that I won, again it was an amateur race, amateur category in a professional race that took part last month. It was organized by WSSM. They are really, really good. They're based out of Pune, but they have races all over. And what I really like about it was that um, I had a word with the founder and with the organizer, and they kind of recommended which category I get into, and everything from the way the route was chosen to the way we started on time. Everything was really, really well organized, and we had a great time, and I happened to win a gold at that time. So that really kind of helped me see the results of all the hard work that I put in, and I feel like yeah, I'm definitely going to stick to indoor training for a while more, just to see how much I can push my limits.
Okay, coming back to the question, do you use a head unit, and which one do you use, and which one would you suggest to people, and why?
So I've used both the main manufacturers, Garmin and Wahoo. Personally, I'm a fan of Wahoo, just because of the simplicity of the screen, the vibrancy of the screen, the simplicity of the buttons, etc. I don't like touch screens personally, especially when you're trying to ride and try to concentrate on the road. Also, Garmin offers a lot more features. Wahoo doesn't, but I still prefer. It's like I would say iPhone versus Android. It's as simple as that. Like I don't probably need all the features. It would be nice to have all the features, but I prefer the ease of use of Wahoo. Saying that, I think most people, 90% of the people that I know use Garmin and are very, very happy. So I think it's a very personal thing.
Let's talk about some of the cycling gear that you've been using for a while, because a lot of people have the opportunity to buy cycling gear, like for the different brands, especially now there are a lot of brands coming into India. What are the top three brands that you like and that you've used and you find are really good? It's worth the money even if it's slightly expensive.
So, I mean, I think most people start off with Decathlon, with Beatwin and Decathlon, and I think they're still the greatest value for money cycling gear. Whether it's your bib shorts, jerseys, you get really good cycling shoes as well, clipless shoes. So, I would say Decathlon is a great place to start off with. What I've realized is that when you're looking at getting, spending more time on the saddle, I'm talking about more than a few hours, or if you say, for example, compete in racing, etc., we want extreme comfort, etc. I would say brands like Castelli are a good step up over that. And then you can go higher and higher. So the brands that I've used, I started off with Decathlon for a few years. Then I tried out Castelli. I also tried out Attacker, and I've tried out Panomal, and I've tried out. I just got a couple of kits from Pedal Mafia. So I think between all of them, also sorry, another great brand to recommend is Gambit. Gambit is, I think, made by the by the retailers of Castelli in India, but it's an in-house brand, and I think I'm a very big fan of the jersey. I'm not using the bib shorts, but very comfortable, very well fitting, etc. Honestly, such a personal thing. Some people don't like spending stuff on kits. Some people spend a lot of money on kits, I guess, for the style quotient or just to kind of be relevant. But I feel like it's just about what makes you feel good on the bike, and what's most importantly what makes you feel comfortable on the bike. Because after a point, if you don't have well-fitting cycling gear, it affects your performance as well. It can change how you end the ride, whether it's on a good note, being really high with adrenaline, or really tired and sore in the wrong places. So I think a good kit is extremely important. Just start off with like a Decathlon kit, and then build up slowly from there.
So, what are the two YouTube cycling channels that you subscribe to and love watching videos? Muscleman TV better be one of them.
So Delton obviously has a great channel, and I think like bike packing, etc. There's not too many people who are doing that in India. I don't think there's any other channel that's doing that. So bike packing, different adventure activities, trail running, etc. So I think that's definitely fun to watch, especially because they're friends, and it's more personal. But internationally, I'm just trying to think. Uh, I do watch a lot of YouTube videos. It's not like I don't, but I think I just browse through a lot of different reviews. Vegan Cyclist is good, though he talks a lot. I just find it a little too boring. I end up skipping through a lot of stuff. But it's amazing the feats that he's kind of achieved in the last few years, and he's obviously a strong rider. But I feel like I love watching NorCal cycling and their videos, because even though I'm not a crit racer, I'm not a racer professionally, etc. It's just the way he breaks down the footage, whether it's his footage or submitted footage, and his reviews, his tests, and all that. I feel like are the most realistic, and he's like one of those people who are not kind of selling a product, or not necessarily trying to promote a certain kind of cycling, but it's so informative, so much fun. And the second is obviously Safa Bryan's videos, especially his downhill videos of different cyclists and the different people he rides with, and obviously him himself. I feel like between those two, a video by them is definitely fun to watch.
Okay, now given the fact that you have two bikes, you have a Trek Emonda and you have the Scott Gravel, what would be the next two upgrades you see yourself doing on either one of the bikes? Like on one upgrade on the Trek and one upgrade on the Scott, if you had to?
So honestly, both of these bikes come pretty sorted out of the box. This came with carbon wheels. I still upgraded the carbon wheels to slightly deeper ones. I put on thicker tires, etc. So honestly, the upgrades don't ever stop, and that's the thing. One of the fun things about cycling is that these small marginal gains that can they may not really make you faster, but you feel faster and you feel good, and it just gets you more excited to wake up, every morning and get on the bike. But I think probably the next upgrade I would make on the Emonda, I mean, it's pretty much rigged out already, but I'm going to replace the handlebar. It's coming in soon. I had a problem with my earlier handlebar, a small crack in the carbon handlebar. So right now the one that I'm running is a stock alloy handlebar and stem, which I can see a considerable difference in comfort and just the way it kind of absorbs the bumps. So I'm really excited to go back to carbon. So the one that I'm getting is a Chapter 2 handlebar. It's not made for this bike, but it's compatible. Unfortunately, Trek had a recall for the handlebars, which are specifically made for these bikes, the Aeolus RSCVL or something like that, RCVSL. But basically that handlebar had issues with you know people, the riders, different handlebars cracking over pressure. So luckily they recalled it in time, and I don't think there were major accidents that took place. But I heard that they're coming out with a completely new design to kind of counter that and offer a good discount to people who kind of had to send their handlebars in. But yeah, that's going to be on the Monda. I think that's the last thing that I would need for now. On the gravel bike, honestly, the way it's kitted out with the GRX components, great bar tape, nice flared out handlebars, good tires, the tubeless tires and tubeless rims, a decent seat. I did change the seat, but I would say I would love to try out a carbon handlebar on this. I feel like that would make a little more comfortable. But to be very honest, it's pretty close to perfect for Bombay roads. So these are 45Cs, and initially I felt like they were slowing me down, obviously because I was coming from much narrow tires on my road bike. But now that I've ridden it a little more, I feel like 45C is perfect for this bike. The way it handles and it absorbs bumps. I'm on like 30 psi. It's very, very smooth.
So you won't upgrade to the.
Delton has a couple of extra pairs of tires. So if you're putting it in the comments and convince him to like give me one of those pairs, I'll definitely upgrade my tires.
If I get 1 million views on this video in 1 week, I'll give him my tires and I'll give him another set of tires. But it has to be 1 million views in 1 week. Okay, so let's have a quick fire round. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you the question and then you just quickly answer. So if you had to use, abuse, or keep, which bike would you use, abuse, or keep? The choices are Trek Madone, Scott Addict 10, and the Canyon Grizzle CF SL.
I would keep the Madone, even though I'm not a very big fan of aero bikes after my last aero bike, but I'd keep the Madone. I would use the Grizzle, and I would abuse the Scott, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not a very big fan of how the Addict looks personally, but yeah.
Okay, what is your dream bike?
So I won't say a Pinarello or something like that, just because not had really good experience. I mean, I've not had too much experience with those bikes, but I feel like I would love to own a Canyon, even though I know it's not a very expensive bike, but I would love to own one of the bikes from Canyon because I feel like they have some really good range, and they have a lot of nice paint jobs on them. So probably like a Canyon or something like that.
Tubes or tubeless? And why?
I was running tubeless. So the first year or two of running tubes, I tried my best to get a tubeless rig. Once I went tubeless, I realized that it's not for me. It may be definitely a lot more convenient and a lot more quicker to seal punctures, but I prefer having the control in my hands versus letting it be on the tires and the tubes, on the tires and the rims. I've had a few occasions where the tires weren't able to seal, and I had to anyway put an in tube, and that whole process on the side of the road was really messy. And the fact that you anyway still have to carry a tube and carry a pump and all that, I feel like just run a small tube. I'm back on butyl tubes. I was running latex before this, but as a backup I carry these small tubulitos which fit really well in a jersey pocket, so they're not really heavy to carry as a backup.
Okay, would you do a 300 kilometer BRM, bike pack for 5 days back to back to Goa, or do an Everesting attempt?
Okay, that's a very easy one. I would do a bike packing to Goa just because I feel like that's a little more relaxed. The BRM, honestly, kilometers don't really excite me. The Everesting is fun, but I know I'm not fit enough to do that, so I wouldn't attempt it right now. Maybe a few years later.
Okay, the question is, what is the hardest climb you've done till date?
The hardest climb I think both of us have done till date is Mathiran, at least me. But because these guys have done a lot more, passes, etc., in Bhutan and Ladakh and stuff. But I feel for me, Mathiran is one of the toughest. It's just because it's so short. It's like 7 or 8 kilometers, but it's so steep, and some hairpins are so steep that you literally, if you don't stand, you may just roll back. So it's something that I wish everyone would experience even at least once. And everyone who's tried it once definitely has to go back. I know that it's one of those climbs that you just have to conquer it, and you just have to, if you're not able to complete it the first time, you have to go back to complete it. If you're not able to complete it, if you already have completed it the first time, you want to go back and beat your time. So it's one of those climbs where I think it's been like 5 times for me now, and I can't wait to go back. It's just, I could do it every week. It's that good.
Okay, so would you would you rather spend on an expensive carbon wheel set or an expensive carbon frame?
That's a very good question. Honestly, just because now I have had enough experience and I've seen like both sides of it, I have tried out, this bike itself, the gravel bike, a heavyish bike with carbon wheels, and I've tried this bike with alloy wheels. Um, it's a tough one. I think I would invest first in the frame, because the frame, I feel like eventually then you can build and you can kind of get a lower, a lighter wheel set, and you can make upgrades to the same frame. But your base needs to be really strong. Whereas, if you get an aluminum bike with carbon wheels, etc., and light wheels, you will always still feel that you can, go lighter, 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 but a frame will kind of, stop you. So I would say the frame is most important.
Okay, so I think that's about it. So, in closing this video, if you'd like to give a few tips to anyone who's trying to become a better cyclist.
I think consistency is very important, and I think recovery. A lot of people I know, wake up every morning at like 4 a.m., cycle for like 2 hours, don't get enough sleep in the day, or don't have the opportunity to do that, and then again wake up the next day. And also, a lot of people are riding really hard all the time. I feel like that's not going to get you anywhere. You're going to, plateau in terms of your performance. You may see, yourself losing weight, but I don't think your stamina, or the power in your legs is going to kind of increase over time. So zone 2 riding is really important, and we find that boring sometimes, but I feel like get a group ride with a few people, and make a plan for yourself. It could be as simple as doing alternate days of hard riding, and the days in between with slower zone 2 riding. So yeah, I feel like doing a combination of riding on climbs, on flats, and just pacing yourself, doing high cadence, low cadence work, that'll really help you with your cycling training.
Yeah, to add to that, you also need to do strength training, because most of the time you're on the bike, you're just doing endurance, you're just doing either going out for rides 5 6 days a week is not actually going to benefit you. So I would focus a little more also on strength training, because it is very vital for you to progress as a cyclist and move further. Whether it be getting more kilometers in or getting stronger on the climbs. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If you have somebody else, or rather if you have questions regarding Gaurav's bikes or anything about Gaurav's stats, you can follow him on Strava. Links in the description below. His IG handle is in the link. The link is in the description below. Besides that, if you have any comments, do let us know. If you like this video, it's the first of the series. There are many more to come. Next one hopefully will be in a coffee shop. Like I said, he doesn't drink coffee, so we're doing it in his house. And now for some
Free hub sound check.
this is the Trek Emonda SL6 Pro.
Okay, cool.
This is
The Scott Speedster Gravel 20.